Welcome to the What's Your Weird Story podcast.
Everyone has at least one good story.
And some of us have stories that are just to the left of normal.
We're interested in the ones that push the boundaries of what we can perceive.
Stories that defy explanations.
Stories with an air of mystery.
Stories we might not share
for fear of being thought of differently.
But don't worry, we're all friends here. So, what's your weird story?
Hello, Weirdsville. Welcome to the What's Your Weird Story podcast. I am your host, Barry Johnston. With me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Adam Beebe. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing all right, Barry. How are you, sir?
Doing well, enjoying the fall weather. I woke up this morning. It's this beautiful, soft mist outside. Oh, I'd say 45 probably degrees, and
nice.
The leaves are gently falling. It's just beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Very nice. That crispness in the air. That's what I love about fall and winter, but there's that crispness in the air.
Wonderful. Are you guys are probably hitting some peak leaf season, aren't you? Or
not just yet. I
Not
don't
yet?
think.
Okay.
I just noticed this past week that there are leaves on people's yards and in the street and everything, but still a lot of green going around. But we're just now getting back into a regular 60s and 70s.
Nice.
So still not super cool yet, but just but pretty nice. Nice. So
that's nice. That 60 to 70 degree window is perfect for us because we're so used to hot summers. So that's nice, man. That's beautiful.
I like the 50s myself.
Yeah.
That's my perfect range, right around there. Sweater weather.
Sure.
Put on your hoodie and go, and maybe catch a little bit of your breath in the air. Maybe,
Yeah, I like that too.
That's it. It's good stuff.
That's when I start losing the wife, though, man. She's not into it. She hates it. She hates it.
And she grew up there.
I know. She grew up in Wisconsin, but she hates the cold, so I love it. What are you going to do?
Well, everybody out there in Weirdsville, congratulations are in order for our friend Barry Johnston here. He just got back from traveling to Salt Lake City, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
And where he was not just for pleasure, but for, I guess it was pleasure, I don't know. But while there, Barry accomplished a goal that he's been working on for 10 years, and he received his black belt in Aikido.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
That is a major, major accomplishment and really, really cool. And I just wanted to bring that to the front so that everybody could know that about you. That's that. I'm thoroughly impressed by it, and I think it's really
thanks,
awesome.
man.
You've been practicing really hard recently, but also you've been studying for a while.
Yeah,
and this is important to you, and I know that. So
thanks, man. Well, it's been, like you said, it's been over 10 years, and it's been quite a road. For all that time, I've been traveling to classes because that's just kind of what you have to do around here in Oklahoma. There's not, the amount of places that train in Aikido and that do it well and that are legitimate. They're just not that many. So it's been a lot of travel. It's been a lot of mental and physical preparation, especially getting up to the test. And we were supposed to do this back in April, and we waited to the last minute to cancel because of the COVID thing, which was kind of disheartening. But to be honest with you, it's just kind of been the way that this whole process has gone for me. It's just kind of like one obstacle over, after another. So, why not make it more difficult? So like I was getting ramped up, I was getting in shape, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're not going to do it. So I had to wait. And then about 2 months ago, we found out that we were going to have the opportunity to do it out in Salt Lake City. And that presented a whole other host of problems for me, because not only is it a very far drive, because we did drive out there, but also the altitude, which you don't think is going to be a real issue, but it's about 3,500 feet higher than we are here, and it's enough. It's enough to make you kind of have to really concentrate on breathing, and add on top of that you have to wear a mask. I had to wear a mask the entire time. So I couldn't breathe well enough without a mask, and then now I got to have a mask on, and about maybe halfway through, I was sweating so much that the mask was no longer able to filter my breath out, because, it just became this wet piece of material on my face. And so it was tough in more ways than one, but this is really just the beginning. It took me a long time to get here, but now I kind of have the language to move forward. It's kind of like learning the ABCs, and then now you can spell. This whole process has been such a blessing. Just the fact that I've been able to do something in the time that we're living in with all the issues with COVID and stuff, man, I feel it's really given me, I'm trying to practice gratitude at this point in my life and just be happy with what I have and what I'm able to do. So I appreciate you taking interest in it, man. And giving me a chance to talk about that a little bit, and if anybody's interested in that kind of stuff, I would suggest, it doesn't have to be, Aikido. It could be any sort of martial art, anything that is a discipline. Everyone, no matter their age, you can train, you can do something, you can push yourself. And I'm sort of the guy that when I started doing this, I didn't know whether or not I would be able to maintain it with my body. But, over time, you learn to deal with what you got and do the best with what you got. So anyway, that's it. Cool. That's my story.
Two questions. Did you have orange slices at the halftime?
I didn't, but God, man, you talk about, because it's so dry up there. It's kind of the high desert.
Yeah.
And I kept trying. I was drinking as much water as I could, but I just could never get hydrated.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
I know. Maybe I should have brought oranges.
And two, do you now, if I understand this correctly, seeing that you're a black belt, that means you have to legally register your hands as lethal weapons. Is that correct?
I think that's a myth, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
At least tell people that you have to do that.
These are registered hands, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what I'm going to do. Next week, I'm going to look into it, see if I can't do that.
Awesome. Well, congratulations once again, man. I know that's it's a very admirable thing that you've done. I think it's really cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you, really brother. Cool. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, moving on to less out of Barry Bragg's corner to no, I'm just kidding. to moving on to this week's episode. We have once again we're joined by our new special correspondent and Reddit weirdo Bobby, and she has found another interview for us, or story rather. We don't like to use interview, because we like to hear stories. That's what we like. But anyway, she made the connection for us again on Reddit, and we have a mother and daughter, Ashley and Patty, and they've got a cool story about something that happened that kind of set off a chain of interesting events around them. And so I guess we should just, kind of get to it and say, firstly, Bobby, thank you for connecting us to Ashley and Patty. And Ashley, Patty, what's your weird story?
All right. So back in the wintertime, I'm going to say around February or March,
Yeah.
Ashley and I decided to visit a very old cemetery here in Rock Hill because we're both fans of old headstones, and we just like to walk through, read the headstones.
Yeah.
And she was going to take some photographs that day
Yes.
with her professional camera.
Cool.
So we went to a cemetery. What's the name of it?
It's Laurelwood Cemetery in Rock Hill.
Okay.
It dates back to the 1800s. And as we're walking through the cemetery, we happen upon I call it a marker for a family area of headstones and markers. And it was in the shape of a picture frame. It was a big picture frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was white. And so I thought that would be the perfect place for us to take pictures because, I mean, we could just get behind it, stick our head in, and I set the camera up on a tripod on some steps in front of us. So I set it up. My camera is remotely controlled by my phone. So I set the camera up, and Ashley and I get behind this picture frame looking marker, and I start taking pictures, and we're posing, we're doing all the silly stuff, just having a grand
A good
old
time.
time.
Yeah.
And
So it was like a vertical, like looking frame. It wasn't like a plot on the ground
it was
that was marked out.
rectangular. It was just like a portrait looking frame, except it was really big.
Wow.
Okay.
So after a while, after we took many pictures, Ashley said, you know, we should probably get home because her fiance was watching the babies, and we had been gone a while. So I take the camera down, get the tripod, we get everything packed up, and as we're heading back to the car, we start walking away from that area that this family is buried at. And just all of a sudden, I just started panicking because it felt like there was a huge weight and a claw-like thing on my left shoulder.
Ooh.
And I was just really freaking out. And I was just like, Ashley, get it off me. I had no idea what it was because I was scared to look and see what it was.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, while she's freaking out, I'm probably 3 or 4 feet behind her, and I'm back there freaking out because I feel something hit me, like, on my upper back. The best way I can explain it is like somebody walking up to you with, like, a plank of wood or a surfboard or something and just whacking you as hard as possible.
Whoa.
Like, it made me jolt. I let out a whelp, and I was, like, freaking out back there. And I just happened to notice my mom freaking out, and she's going on, and I'm thinking it's because she saw whatever hit me.
Yeah.
I mean, because it just happened out of nowhere, and I finally hear her, and she's like calling for me, and she's like, Ashley, what is on me? There is something on me. And I'm like, Mom, I don't see anything on you. What happened to me? Like, back there, what the hell happened?
Oh, man, I've got the chills
Yeah,
already.
man.
It's
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was like catty corner to me, behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So she assured me there was nothing on me. There was a tree in the area, so we start looking on the ground to see if maybe a big branch or something fell that hit both of us that could account for what we felt.
Yeah.
And there was nothing.
Dang.
So we went on to the car and, of course, talked about this all the way home of how we can explain what we felt.
Yeah.
At the exact same time.
Yes.
Right.
Trying to rationalize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was no explanation for it. Now, a couple days later, I live in Prosperity, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half from Rock Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home that day, and like 2 days later, I noticed that I had 2 marks on my left shoulder.
Oh, wow.
Two red marks.
Wow.
It didn't look like any claw. It didn't look like anything. It was just 2 red marks.
Huh.
So that kind of sealed the deal for me, that I know that there was something there.
Wow.
We couldn't see it.
Yeah.
We don't know if it was, something telling us that, you're not welcome here,
Yeah.
or maybe they thought that we were making fun.
Being disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
When you felt the pressure on your shoulder, was it? Did you feel like the claw, like poking, like the claws poking into you, or was it just like a heavy sort of a feeling, like a hand on your shoulder?
It's hard to explain. It wasn't like a claw, like a eagle claw that is just grasping you.
Yeah, digging.
But
in.
it was extremely heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just couldn't imagine what was sitting on my shoulder. And again, I was scared to look and see what was sitting on my shoulder.
Of course. Wow. Now, did you look through the pictures at all? Was there anything in the picture?
Yes. There was nothing in the pictures.
Okay.
We looked through the pictures, nothing in the pictures.
Wow.
But we have
that's
been
almost a
back
relief.
since then.
Yeah. You what now?
We have been back since then.
Okay. Okay.
We decided to go back.
Now wait a minute. Now I mean this is a ballsy move, man. I mean, Adam and I both, I don't think would have the ability. If we had done something like this, there's no way we're going back. I don't think.
Well,
I'm
we
not,
know
anyway.
that, but we also know that probably in all likelihood nothing would have happened to me because I'm notoriously ghost blind.
True.
So
Right. It would have
I
happened
don't
to me.
see things. Something would happen to Barry, and I would definitely
Right.
think my friend's losing it now. So he's having some kind of a flashback or something. I don't know. But
Wow. So you decide.
Yeah.
So you decide to go back, man. Okay.
So,
Well, we went back initially because I wanted to get names and dates off of those headstones.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do some research on these people that maybe had something to do with what happened to us,
Mhm.
or
yeah,
if we could find any sort of like relevant answers to anything. So that's why we went back initially.
so we went back on September 13th.
Yes.
Okay.
So what was that, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we went back, I stayed in the car.
Okay. Okay. I would have too.
not that anyone would probably blame you.
Yeah.
I pulled up beside where this marker is for this family, and Ashley got out and went over. So when I'm sitting in the car, the area we're talking about is to my left, so I can see her clearly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when I pulled up, parked, she got out, went over there. She was videotaping, going along, getting the names and stuff off of these headstones that are there for this family. When she was out there was a breeze blowing, and there were leaves, tons of leaves falling from the tree.
Mm.
Now, when I looked around the rest of the cemetery, there was no breeze and there was no leaves.
Oh.
It was just in this area to my left where Ashley was filming.
Yeah, it was just that family plot.
So she gets finished. She gets back in the car, and I asked her, I said, did you notice that there was a breeze and leaves falling when you were over there? And she said, yes. So we get ready to leave. We pull up, and this is like at the corner. It's at an intersection. So we pull up, turn left, and I sit there for about 3 minutes because I want to see if that breeze is still blowing and there's leaves still falling. And it was as still as could be.
Oh,
there was
man.
no leaves falling and there was no breeze.
Wow.
Wow.
It was so wild.
Wow.
Yep. So then we went back there yesterday.
Oh, man.
It's addicting. I can't help it. But we go back yesterday just for a few minutes because we had somewhere we had to be. And because we wanted to see if it would happen again with the breeze and the leaves, and she was going to videotape it this time. It didn't happen. The breeze and stuff didn't happen, but we were standing out there for a few minutes, and she's over by the marker where the first incident happened, and I'm standing near one of the actual headstones, and all of a sudden, I feel like my left arm just completely freeze. Like from my shoulder down past my elbow, it felt like I stuck my arm into like a meat freezer or something.
Wow.
Just the sudden change from my left arm and my right arm, just freezing.
Wow.
And I call my mom, and I'm like, Mom, come back here. Like, my arm is frozen. It's freezing. And she put her arm on mine. She didn't feel anything. But it stayed that way for probably 3 or 4 minutes. The rest of the time we stood out there. Then the minute I get back in the car, completely fine.
Wow. 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 Wow.
And I would like to add something that we forgot to mention when we went back the second time with the breeze and the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
The headstone, the first headstone that Ashley panned with her camera, the date of death on that was September 13th, 1969.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Now,
did
did
not
any-
notice until I got in the car. I just happened to play the video because I wanted to start researching names on the drive home. And literally the first tombstone it shows is like September 13th. And I'm like, wait, what? Today is September 13th.
Wow.
What are the chances, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That
Just
is
crazy.
That
That
is.
is a weird coincidence.
That.
Yeah.
Did anything happen to you that second time while you were out videotaping, taking the pictures of the headstones? Did anything happen to you while your mom was in the car? Besides, you felt the breeze, but was there any other kind of?
Really, the only feeling I felt was just kind of this. It was kind of just like this dark, somber mood,
Mhm.
kind of like an onset of depression or something.
Mhm.
And that was, I mean, just as I was walking over the graves taping, it was just this feeling over me. And actually, after yesterday, too, when we left, I immediately got a headache in the car. Like, I had a migraine coming on. And this morning, it had just felt like my body had been hit by a bus.
Wow.
Morning was very, like, rough. And I felt very tired and drained. And
So whatever it was latched onto her. It did not do anything. Yesterday, I was perfectly fine.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild. Were you able to look into the names or anything like that on the headstones and check that out to see what their history was?
I have. I've looked. The woman who had died on the date that we happened to go there, her name was Mammy Malden, and she's actually like the monarch of the family that's buried out there.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Her and her husband are buried next to each other. His name is Mark Malden, and they apparently like were the entrepreneurs and owners of like the Rock Hill Coca-Cola distributing company.
Okay.
The only information I could really find out about them was that, and that they had 3 small children that passed away.
Gosh, man.
Out of like 5 kids, 3 of them passed away very young.
Man.
But that's really the only information I've been able to find so far.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. That is wild. We've had a few stories of entities or whatever, and actually one lady has she's got a restaurant up in North Carolina that there's some sort of, which when you said that, it hit you guys like I'm thinking it's probably a dark entity of some sort. It sounds like to me malicious in some way.
Yeah.
But man, that's creepy, man. That is wild stuff. I mean, is that something that you do on a regular basis? You guys go out to graveyards and do this like pretty often, or?
Well, we do now, but
Now you do, yeah.
We found out after the fact that I don't know what you want to, spirits, entities, whatever it is, sometimes they cannot control their strength.
Right.
So it may not be that they wanted to hurt us.
Right.
It may just be that they wanted to get our attention. But
Sure.
Yeah. Say, Barry.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest job you've ever had?
That's a good question. It would either have to be the time that I worked at a cattle feedlot or the time that I worked for a Greek painter.
Were you his model?
Not quite.
Well, you know, it's funny because one of my weirdest jobs was being a model in art school, but it was portraits, not full body nude. The reason I'm asking is because those jobs may be kind of normal, but we know people are out there that have weirder jobs than that. Maybe you're a mortician. Maybe you're a scientist trying to bring back the dinosaurs or the woolly mammoth.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool. If you guys out there have weird jobs, unusual jobs, crime scene photographer, maybe you worked at an adult educational film set, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Just something that's unusual, out of the ordinary, and, you know, a little bit weird. Hey, those are cool stories too. We'd love to hear those. So give us a call or an email or whatever. You know how to get a hold of us. Be part of the community of Weirdsville.
Hi,
I don't have
guys.
a stand on mine. Hey, sorry about that.
No problem.
It's all right.
It's okay.
No problem.
I was just worried that you guys were, I was scared.
Yeah, maybe the ghost got to you.
I was scared for you guys. I was like, I hope they're okay.
I know. I asked her. I said, "Uh-oh, someone doesn't like this."
You've told their whole backstory.
Yeah.
They weren't ready for that. She knows our secret.
Cool.
All right.
So you guys... Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I forgot to add, too, that I had reached out to a paranormal team.
Mhm.
I think it's called ICOM Paranormal, but I was just looking to see if anybody had investigated that cemetery before or if anybody had similar experiences or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually went out there in 2012. It's a family paranormal team. They go and investigate places all over the States. And the dad actually messaged me back, and he said that was one of the most active cemeteries he's ever been to.
Oh, wow.
So he wasn't surprised by my story at all. Like, apparently his wife also was touched by some sort of entity or something out there, and they actually got a lot of great evidence that day that they went as far as EVPs go and a few other devices they used. But he said it was very active and a lot of negative spirits there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I wonder, since you guys were both touched, or, you know, and he said his wife was also, you know, touched. I wonder if it's some kind of like, you know, attracted to, if it's attracted to women, you know, if it's like,
Yeah.
if it's something where it's like, you know, maybe has like, you know, some kind of like, either it's a, you know, like a angry male spirit or maybe a jealous, you know, female spirit or something like that. I don't know, but like that makes me wonder if it is something that has to do with like that, where it's focused.
That's a
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good point.
He was definitely alive around the time that the patriarchy was alive and well.
Right.
Well, it's Bobby. It's
Right.
but yeah. But I wonder. So now what we'll have to do is you'll have to get somebody to dress up as a woman and go with you, and then one of you can dress up as a man and see if the spirit can see through that.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know the gender politics of the spirit world. Could be an interesting,
Episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys do other ghost investigations outside of this, or this is set you on a new path here to sort of go down?
I mean, it set me on a new path for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an atheist anyways, but for the longest time, that also with me included, I didn't believe in anything as far as afterlife, anything ghost related. I just did not believe any of it.
Right.
I thought, when you die, that's it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't adventures or anything because I was just certain that, it was all a crock of BS. So to be in a position where it's happening to me and it's something that like physical, because I've been told since I've shared this story by multiple people that it's super rare in the first place to be attacked with that much force.
Mm-hmm.
It's more common to feel like something emotional, but to have something like touch you or sit on you or whatever, it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
So that even more so we're like, what happened to us,
Mm-hmm.
There has to be something because there's just no explanation for it.
Yeah.
It would have to take a lot of energy to apply that much force on you, even as a physical being. It would take a lot of energy for them to hit you that hard, and to also to grab your mom and leave marks. So like something that's non-corporeal, it would definitely take a lot that of energy somehow manipulated to do those kinds of things to you as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about if there's anything that they're wanting?
I don't know.
One of the comments that Ashley received on one of her posts about this was a suggestion that maybe one of the deceased there in that family was trying to maybe relay to us how they died.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like how the three children, do we know how they died? Or like, was it all together or separate times?
I unfortunately couldn't find anything on their deaths.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, I mean, and that's a big part of why we keep going back, because it was just such a life-changing experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they're trying to communicate in some way too, which is interesting, I think.
Right. And I just want those answers. I mean, there's no way I can go without answers now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there any way we can send you all a picture of that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd love that. We'd love that.
Yeah, we got an email. You can send it to, or you can send it. Ashley could send it through the Instagram message that we've been talking there on the Instagram page. But the email for anybody at home listening is "What's Your Weird Email?" That's WHATSYER because we're folksy. Email at gmail.
Yes.
I always spell it out because we do the year because we are country boys at heart. So
yeah. I think you find that too. A lot of people that we've talked to don't necessarily believe in ghosts until they've had their encounter. So this isn't something that is not out of the norm. I think most people are pretty skeptical when it comes to this stuff until you've had an experience like that. And trying to explain it to people is weird because, it's kind of one of those things where unless you're really close friends with people, maybe you share it. But even then, it can get weird, So that's why we do this. So people have a platform to come on and talk about this kind of stuff that they wouldn't normally talk about, because we're up to 100 and what, Adam, 2 or 3?
10.
110.
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll be closer to 115. So
Okay, so we've got 115 episodes of people, sharing these crazy stories, man, and and all of them have been interesting and unique, and you guys, this story definitely falls into that,
Yeah,
Well,
I also find. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I apologize. I would like to add something that has happened to me since this happened.
Okay.
I've never had any kind of paranormal experience whatsoever until this happened. Now, after this happened, I was a friend of mine at work who, when COVID hit, her mother-in-law, who was at a facility, her and her husband took her out of the facility to stay with them.
Right.
Now, I have house sat for them before, several times, for like a week at a time. I've never experienced anything while I was at their house. They have a 2-story house. Well, the last time I was there, sitting with the mother-in-law, who is in her 80s, I actually went there a couple days a week for a few weeks to help them out with her. One particular day I was there, she's an avid, she loves watching Mass. So she would make sure she was up at like 9 o'clock every morning to watch Mass. Well, one particular morning I was there, she decided she wanted to sleep in. So I didn't turn the TV on because I didn't want to interrupt her sleep or anything. So I sat there in complete silence. I was just playing like Candy Crush on my phone. Well, suddenly I hear a door shut upstairs. So it definitely got my attention. So I didn't do anything. I just sat there and listened. Couple minutes later, I heard what sounded like footsteps. And they have wooden floors, so there's really no mistaking the sound of footsteps.
Yeah.
Right.
And for probably the next hour, off and on, I heard weird noises upstairs. It got to the point where I thought, well, my mind must be playing tricks on me. So I looked outside to see if there was any kind of breeze blowing that would cause maybe some shutters to be slapping against the house.
Yeah.
There's no kind of breeze out there. When her husband got home, I asked him if they had ever experienced anything at all in that house as far as paranormal. And he said that he hadn't, but when they moved into the house, the entire house was clean except for one bedroom upstairs, which was covered in dust. Because apparently no one went in that bedroom.
Huh.
Wow.
Now, like I said, I had house sat for them several times before. I never experienced anything like that until I had this experience at the cemetery.
Wow.
And from what I heard, once the I don't know what you want to call it, the entities or whatever, once they know that you are open to that possibility,
yeah,
you may experience other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really that was a real eye opener for me, because I had never experienced anything like that until then. And since then, I have experienced other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had experiences at home too since it happened.
Really?
Do tell. So, but before we get there, a few questions about the house. So there was nobody upstairs when you were there with the mother-in-law, the woman. Okay, because I wasn't sure. I figured as much. If she's that old, she's probably not going to be upstairs walking around. She'll probably be downstairs because stairs would be difficult. But yeah, that is something you do hear quite a lot. That once the door is open, it is open. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hear some of these more.
Let's go down that road.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Well, probably the scariest happening for me at home since this happened. One night, this was like a couple months after it happened. I was rocking my baby to sleep in the living room. It was probably like, I want to say 8:30 at night or so, and my fiance had already went to sleep because he gets up super early for work. And he had just gone to lay down, and I felt like almost the stinging sensation, like below my ear.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd been bit by something, and it starts to kind of burn, and it's getting really itchy. So I call my fiance back out there, and I'm like, I need you to look at my ear real quick because I've got the baby, but it's burning. I don't know if I got bit by something. Can you just see if you see anything? And we lift up my hair, and he turns on his flashlight on his phone. There's a super long red scratch from the bottom of my earlobe, right at the bottom, all the way down my neck.
Oh,
Completely vertical, perfectly straight. One super long scratch.
Mm.
And he's like, were you scratching your neck? And I was like, no, I haven't touched it yet. It itches. I wanted to know what it is. And he takes a picture with his phone, and you can see the scratch mark going all the way down. And after that, it wasn't red the next day. It's healed now, obviously, but you can still faintly feel it like it's a scar.
Mm.
Wow.
And it just starts at the base right there and goes all the way down.
Wow. Can you send us a picture of that? If you still have it?
Yeah, definitely.
I would say be careful because knowing that thing was attaching itself to you at the graveyard, man, I would be a little bit careful because we know that sometimes those things can attach, and
yeah,
I don't know if you've thought about maybe smudging your home or something, but
Definitely.
yeah. That's what's scary is if these things get physical,
Yeah.
and it could be benign, it could be, but at the same time, we've heard some crazy stories about, shadow people and things like that. That's scary stuff.
That's definitely.
You start experiencing these physical altercations. That's not good, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, especially if it's being harmful, if it's just tapping you on the shoulder or something like that, that's, definitely trying to get your attention. But yeah, if it escalates, definitely, we're not experts. We just, we just like hearing good stories, but, we've kind of accumulated a little bit of, I guess, experiential knowledge by, hearing all these stories and also, by just, always watching and, documentaries and TV shows and everything. But yeah, smudging is it seems to be a good way to kind of start to push things out. But, and then, I guess if it gets worse, then, you get some professional help.
Yeah. Right.
Of some sort or another,
Right. Any nightmares or bad dreams or anything like that?
I have had nightmares, yes. I've had lots of nightmares since. But that's also not something I can say is, directly related to that.
Sure.
Because, nightmares are common.
Right.
But it's just hard to tell. I've definitely had a few nightmares I recall that were they had those undertones.
Right.
And maybe possession. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
Right.
something that's tied to religion in a lot of cases,
Right.
but it had those undertones. Like you can feel that when you're dreaming.
Right. Well, I think oftentimes the reason why there's a connotation with religion is because oftentimes there's no other way to explain those types of things, and so we attach them to those types of ideas. But you know, Native Americans have talked about that kind of stuff for quite some time. You know,
Well, I mean, virtually every kind of religion or spiritual practice has where instances of where a person is either influenced or taken over by something outside other and that beyond just like some kind of something that's there beyond the physical. So I mean, because you can go to like any obviously here in the West when we think about possession, we think about Catholic priests coming in and the holy water and exorcist and all that stuff. But I mean, again, any religion, you can go anywhere around the world and there's some kind of like a holy man or something or woman who part of their rights are to get rid of the bad things
stuff,
that
right.
are possession or influencers or whatever. You can see that in Asia.
Africa. Remember our guest that we had on from Africa, that the people would don these crazy masks and like they would follow people around the village and stuff, and it was to like ward the evil spirits out.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me, or I guess a little, what makes it concerning for me is that it came home, and not just home, but like other people's homes. Like, I mean, because I would think it may not be just that you're open to new things. It just may be that the connection with this thing is so strong that it's staying with you everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I would think though that because there's a history of other high strangeness at the house that Patty went to, that maybe it was it opened her up to her perception has been opened. Your third eye is now open. Whatever.
Right.
So, but again, it could be that it's attached or something. I don't know. It just seems who knows, really. It seems to me that all of a sudden your radio station is now receiving from the other side.
Right.
So
it's pure speculation, but
Your antenna upgraded.
right.
Do you feel compelled to go back still?
Yeah.
I thought so.
You're going back after we talk, aren't you? You're in the car already. We can tell.
I was there last night and she wouldn't accept that. So.
I'm not ready to go in the dark yet.
I didn't think of that. You've been there during the day every time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we're coming up on the season of of Halloween, and if you're going to do something like that, that would be the time to do it. Get out there and I can see how excited you are about that, Patty. Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you find something like that and you're trying to get down to the nuts and bolts of what's going on, and it sounds like you're pretty adventurous, you probably aren't going to stop until you figure something out. So I would just say, just be careful is all,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But it's wild. We don't know enough. We know enough to know that we don't know a whole lot about what's going on with these things. And the more stories that we hear, the more I'm like, wow, there's maybe another plane out there that we're really just sort of touching on the surface of what that is. You watch the shows and people have these experiences and these stories and stuff, and it's like some things have been caught on videotape or on recordings and stuff, and it's pretty hard to deny some of it. Some of it obviously is, I sometimes wonder if some of it's, not BS that they make up for a TV show, but some of it is pretty compelling. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely skeptic before because I would watch the shows like Ghost Hunters and all of that.
Right.
And I just never felt like it was 100% real.
Right. Sure.
And I guess that like just goes to show like it is real and you can experience it.
Right.
And I think that like that will change your entire outlook on so many things.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I always recommend people that if they are going to go, chasing after these experiences, don't provoke like they do on like the Ghost Hunters, the Ghost Bros, where they're trying to agitate and like really provoke to try to get a response, because that seems, it's like, that's like going up to a sleeping bear and it's yelling and screaming and poking it. And of course, that's just going to get your face ripped off. So,
right. Yeah.
Jeez.
Right.
Not.
Yeah. And it
might that it started such a strong physical attack. I think we're good. Like, we don't want to push that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If it's capable of that, I don't want to know what else it can do to us. So.
Right. Awesome.
I've tried to remain very respectful anytime that I go out there.
That's good.
Yeah. That is good.
Man.
Cool deal. Right. Well, do you have any other stuff? Any other experiences? It doesn't even have to be related to this particular thing. Ever seen a Bigfoot or UFOs?
No. Not yet.
You never know.
You never know. Yeah. That could be, because tend to, when you start to experience these things, you start to notice the things are more around you more. The high strangeness. You start to realize that there's other things that you probably would have just put off as just, that's unusual maybe, or even given a second thought, like when you were out there the second time and the breeze was isolated to that area. A lot of times we would have, people would be like, whatever,
right.
Just breeze, trees falling or whatever. But again, you noticed because you've had the experience there, and and because like when you were over your friend's house, hearing the steps and everything, and and asking your friend, that's even doing that when you're at somebody's house and you're like, hey, is there something going on upstairs? That's probably before you probably would have never mentioned that, would you? No.
And every time I have stayed there to house sit, I stayed upstairs.
In that room?
No.
Okay.
Now I did stay in that room the very first time I stayed there, and I was creeped out. Nothing ever happened, but I just had this weird feeling about that room. But I got to tell you, if she was to ask me to house sit again, now that I've experienced that, I really don't think I could.
Yeah.
Simply because I'd be there by myself at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like at least that is kind of that's the kind of haunting that you hear about a lot, though, where it's just like somebody walking around or something, and that creepy, you feel a little something. That sounds like a residual kind of thing, So, somebody that lived there is still kind of just hanging out, maybe, or something kind of impression, kind of a memory or something.
Yeah.
Again, we weren't. But that seems, honestly, that seems a lot tamer than what you dealt with at the cemetery. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's wild because, obviously a cemetery would be a place where these things would sort of be, and oftentimes a home is, they get attached to homes, and who knows what goes on in the home. All kinds of crazy stuff goes on in the home. So those impressions get left sometimes. I mean, we had a lady that came on. She told a crazy story about going to a Civil War campground area, and their whole group smelled bacon cooking.
Yeah,
and apparently this happens. Like, the tourists, the people, or the guides are like, yeah, like, that's a normal thing. It's like, that's what they would cook, for their breakfast and stuff. And she's like, yeah, we smelled it. Like, we thought somebody was cooking bacon, like right there.
Yeah. They went to this kitchen and like nobody was cooking anything, but it was
and
like
that's
just
an unmistakable smell.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, she had also had a lot of varied experiences.
Odd
They were
experiences, man. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well,
Now,
thank
I
you.
think I found.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was looking up. I was trying to find this cemetery to see if there was anything else about it because I'm really curious. I almost want to go to it next time I'm in North Carolina because it wouldn't be that far.
Yeah.
You said it was called Rockwell is that right? Rockwell?
It's Laurelwood.
No, where did I get Rockwell from?
R-E, no.
Yeah, we're
Laurelwood.
in Rock Hill. That might be where the.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Let's see what it looks like.
It's in 1879.
Oh, wow.
1979? 1879?
18.
Is there, and I know that the likelihood to the answer of this question is yes, because you are in the South, but is there a Civil War battlefield or anything like that near?
Andrew Jackson's, there's an Andrew Jackson Park here that's in like the next town over.
Yeah.
But no I think the closest battlefield is in Charleston.
Okay.
But at Laurel, they have a big Confederate monument where a lot of Confederate soldiers are buried.
Oh, okay.
And they're buried all over the cemetery.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. There you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
It doesn't get more horrifying than the Civil War. That's for damn sure. There's a lot of suffering.
Oh,
I mean,
this is beautiful.
Oh, it is a beautiful cemetery. It is.
And we passed by it many times, and just every time we pass by, it's like we both of us wanted to go in and just look around because it is beautiful, and there's so many old headstones there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see a monument here. It says to the sacred memory of the Confederate soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Also very creepy looking. Like very creepy.
That's why
and
they
these
went.
trees I can't imagine anything like subtle moving these trees. They're massive. Like the trunks.
They are huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Wild.
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad you guys are okay.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. After just hearing the story and looking at those pictures.
You did your job.
Send you guys pictures too.
Thoroughly creeped us out.
Yes, please.
Yes. Yeah. Send us anything you got, pictures and stuff.
We also kind of noticed that day too that all of the pictures we took behind that marker came out slightly blurry.
Really?
Remember?
Yeah.
In comparison to all the other photographs taken over the cemetery, all of the ones behind that family marker came out slightly blurry.
That's true.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That is, man.
And there's no other weird artifacts, nothing else that stands out about the photos that you took?
We had some people comment that they noticed what looked like a face in the background up in a tree, but I mean, I zoomed in and there was no face. I mean, it was basically the light and shadows that made it appear like it could have been a blurry face.
Yeah.
I didn't see a face there.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people did point out that because of the way it looks blurry, it almost looks like it's trying to focus on something between us.
Right. Interesting.
Oh.
I mean, we weren't standing super close together. She was on one side and I was on the other side, just kind of leaned towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it was focusing on something in between.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
definitely want to see those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send
For
them.
sure.
Send them.
It's hard not to come back. It is really hard.
Well, let us know, when you go back.
Yeah.
Keep in
Yeah.
touch with us, because,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, we have people that have come on the podcast a few times to do follow-ups and stuff. So that's always available for you guys.
Yeah. Anytime anything weird happens, just let us know. We'll have you back. So.
Yeah.
Did you I wanted to ask you about your art before you went out. Adam is a really incredible artist. Insanely talented. Don't
What kind of art do you do?
swat that away.
I'm like just 2D stuff traditionally, painting and drawing, stuff like that.
Yeah, I love to paint too.
Nice.
I bring like a new, it's kind of a new style, I guess. I call it like mosaic faux stained glass paintings.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm currently working on one of David Bowie.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh, cool.
he's got a geometric face, and there's lots of glitter, and I out hot glue to give the effect of like fake stained glass. And it's coming out really awesome.
Cool.
So I have a whole line of people I'm going to do with that style, like Freddie Mercury and
Nice.
Prince and Elton John, and
Nice.
just
So beautiful.
nice and colorful and glittery and just unique and different.
Very cool. Do you sell
Yeah.
these or?
I do. I'm actually in the process of launching my Etsy shop soon, hopefully.
Okay. Well,
But I have my Instagram for it, which is Ashley Terry Art.
okay.
TRY Art. And
No plugins.
but I do like portraits and stuff too, and watercolors and all kinds of stuff. So
Cool.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Go check her stuff out for sure.
Yeah. What was? Say that again one more time. Your account.
it's Ashley Terry Art. ASHLEY TERRY Art. ART.
Cool.
All together.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank
All right.
you guys so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Thank
do.
you.
That was great stuff.
Great stuff.
Yeah. It's going to be a real weird day.
Yeah.
The rest of the day.
Which is perfect for us. So
Oh, man.
awesome. We'll come back. Like I said, if you got some follow-up stuff, we'd love to have you back. So
Oh, definitely. I mean, we'll definitely be going back. So
Yeah.
cool.
And we'll
Cool.
see what you pick.
Yeah. Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
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 Hey, that's a nice t-shirt you got on there.
Oh, thanks, dude. It's brand new. Do you like that? It's one of the official What's Your Weird Story t-shirts.
Where'd you get that?
It's funny that you ask. I just got it off the brand new Spreadshirt.com site for the What's Your Weird Story podcast. There's no www. You just go straight to shop.spreadshirt.com/what's without the apostrophe WHATS hyphen YER-WEIRD-STORY, and that'll take you right there.
I mean, you can never own enough clothing.
Well, it's true, Barry. There's t-shirts for the ladies because, they're cut differently. There's hoodies, which are really cool. There's two different kinds of hoodies, and there's also tote bags, so you can tote your stuff.
That's so cool, man.
So if you guys go out to spreadshirt.com, What's Your Weird Story, currently there are 2 designs, but there will be more going up very soon. So just keep your eyes out for that. And if you decide to get one of their shirts, tag yourself on Instagram to ours or Facebook. Show your love. Show us what you got. Let's see your true colors.
Wow, great stories. Thank you, Ashley and Patty, for coming on and sharing those crazy stories, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, they're there in, small town, South Carolina, and, a lot of history on there on the East Coast. Not just, American history, but pre-American. I don't know, man. It's really cool that they had this experience. It was a freaky experience. I don't know how much I particularly would want to, say go to hang out, go to a graveyard, a cemetery, I should say, and, be, I don't know, attacked or just, messed with or whatever. Yeah. But they seem to open up that door. And what they were talking about with the frame is I Googled it. I looked into it. It's more of it's like an arc. It's like an arc de triomphe kind of a thing.
Yes.
So that makes more sense, because originally I was thinking it was kind of like a picture frame.
Yeah.
Cut out of a bigger tombstone kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, but yeah, and then of course Patty, hearing the footsteps and everything at her friend's house, man.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. And they keep going back.
I know, they keep going back, even though they were touched and clawed, and golly, I don't know. It's one of those things. I think as a mother and daughter, you experience something like that, and you can't explain it. Mm-hmm. So you gotta try to get to the bottom of it, which kind of leads to, well, now I got to go back and check it out. Ashley seemed like she wasn't much of a believer before, but now having this experience, it's like, okay, I got to maybe dig into this a little bit and at least vet it a little bit. The thing about the leaves that were falling, the wind that was, around them, was like, I don't know. I guess when you're trying to be perceptive to something like that, you start noticing these little things that can lead to, something bigger. But we wish them luck in their search, and, and obviously welcome them back if they have anything else that they come across. Just, again, we appreciate them for coming on.
Yep. And for sharing their stories, which is what we're all about. So as the year winds down and we're getting more towards the more holidays and the family's holidays, which will obviously probably be a little different this year than most, take time to talk to your family and share stories and all that stuff, and let us know what you find. If you hear anything cool, or if you've had any cool experiences on your own. It's not just ghosts. It's not just, Bigfoot and UFOs and stuff. We just like to hear good stories. We like to hear, unusual stories, the stories that, the story that everybody always asks you or makes you tell when you meet new people, that kind of a story.
Yeah.
Those fun stories or funny stories or wild stories or anything like that. Let us know. And, you can get a hold of us through our social media on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can go to email us. It's What's Your Weird Email. That's your with YER, because remember we're folksy, and at Gmail. That's WHATSYERWEIRDEMAIL at Gmail. Or you can call the hotline. It's 513-909-9821, and leave us a message there, and we can set up either a session to, talk to you and hear your story in person, or you can write it and email it to us, and, we can have, it's been a while since we've had a write-in, so it'd be great, because Mr. Hubbard is waiting, to read some stories, so... Always a pleasure to just spend some time with you here every week, get away from the craziness of the world, and explore some new territories and hear some really great stories. And so thanks for listening. Join us next time. Next time is very interesting, my friend. Next time is when we talk to Chrissy.
Oh yeah, this is a good one, guys. You're gonna want to tune in. This is good stuff.
We've got kind of a sixth sense thing going on. If you get my meaning, my clue right there. So, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of Weirdsville and the Weirdsville community. Thank you for sharing your stories, and we look forward to hearing more stories. And as always, be safe.
Be weird.
As always, if you have a weird story, we want to hear it.
If you have a lot of them, we want to hear them all.
We can't do this podcast without your invaluable contributions.
Whether it's sharing your stories,
listening,
rating,
and spreading the word about the podcast. Thanks for listening. Until next time, be safe.
Be weird.
The stories presented on the What's Your Weird Story podcast are, to our knowledge, true experiences that our guests have had. We can't take the time to research all claims made, and besides, it's just not as fun.